guys, Jen here from a sunny Edinburgh today. Someone must have been listening to me complaining yesterday. So a huge thank you for all of you who watched my video yesterday. I've had messages from people all around the world and it means so much to me. The video probably finished it quite abruptly. Some said it was a bit of a cliffhanger, and I think that was, I wasn't actually really sure when I was going to finish, but I think, I found it, quite a vulnerable experience actually sharing my story, and in particular actually, sharing about my breast cancer. So here's day 2 and what happened next. So, so 2015. I had just started working Fortune 500 as a global talent director, and I was just feeling on top of the world. And then to be sat in an oncologist's office and having all these tests and then being told that I had breast cancer just turned my life on its head, and just that fear of the unknown. I've always been someone with a vision, with a plan. I always known what I wanted next. That adventure, and then just to have that all ripped away, and that fear of what next. And I remember my other half sitting with me in the hospital, and he said to me, "Jen, you are never gonna feel worse than today." That fear of not knowing or not being in control and not having all that, having the facts, and you're never gonna feel worse than today. And that was actually some of the best advice anyone could have ever said to me, because and I think that's the thing about rock bottom, is that it's the bottom. Like, just draw a line on it, draw a line under it. And I think, from that day, although, the next 11 months, I was in and out of hospital, chemo, operations, the lot. I think just that, right, that's the shittest I'm ever going to feel, just drawing a line. It shifted my mindset from that kind of place of fear to, right, so how can I take action to move me that step closer to the end of this. And actually, I booked the most awesome adventure for the December, for a month after I finished treatment, to go to Nicaragua, so that we could be on this tiny little island in the middle of the Caribbean, off the coast of Nicaragua, with no electricity, as something that I was working towards. And I, during that cancer treatment, I discovered so much about myself. And I think, the fact that, there's something to be thankful for in every day. There's something that there's always a positive. It also taught me, what are the important things in life. It's just the people around you, the adventures. What are the things that give you joy, and to look out for those, but also to make sure that you're injecting as many of those into your day as well. So, I guess probably the hardest thing for me, during treatment, was that I'd gone from being this person who had this unshakable self-belief, like I just trusted in myself, that maybe I didn't have the answers, or I didn't have the experience to the full experience to go after that promotion, but I was just like, go for it and work out the details later. And that was that self-belief. And I lost that. I really lost that, and lost a lot of my confidence, because that person that I trusted, that self-belief, that trust in myself, I lost that, because essentially my boob was trying to kill me. So I kind of just, I just had that trust in myself, and I lost that, and losing that self-belief and losing that kind of confidence in myself. I noticed that I was making decisions from a place of fear, rather than that place of, I'll work it out, that place of, the hope and the trust that it will work out one way or another, it will work out. So I now was making decisions on, right, I've got to stay safe, I've got to protect myself, I've got to stay in my comfort zone, I've got, or this might happen, my cancer might come back, all these things. And that's a really shit place to be. And that's a really, nothing fun and adventurous happens from making decisions from a place of fear. And I think that was the hardest thing for me is, and deep down there was that Jen inside being like, come on, break out, have an adventure, do something fun, back yourself, So I think that was, that was a massive challenge for me, but also for, a learning as well. So, and that, coming back to, I was working throughout. So, I was didn't want to give up my identity and at work. I didn't want to succumb to being just a patient. So, I was working throughout, taking some time off and then going back to work. And then I went back to work full time quite quickly, probably in hindsight a little bit too quickly. And actually I just got back into working. Gone through 11 months of treatment and then working full time within a matter of a month. And all that stuff I'd learned during treatment about, injecting joy and, and having more life in my life, as soon as I got back into that kind of corporate hamster wheel, I forgot all that good stuff, and that's, I hadn't really learnt my lesson. So, and it's one thing loving your job, but your job shouldn't suck the life out of life, and we have the power to take charge of that and to control and influence that, and I forgot that really quickly. So returning to work, I burnt out unsurprisingly quite quickly, and actually it was the first time I thought, right, I need to take a block off, I really need to take a block of time off, to sit and breathe and just stop and just listen and check in with myself on what do I want life to look like. I have got a second chance, and I think there's a really cool quote on, we have two lives. The second life starts when you realize in fact you've only got one, and I think having that time, just that time away from the busyness of work, taking a step back and thinking, right, what next, right? How do I want my life to look like? How do I want work to look like? What do I want that vision to be like? That was a real turning point for me, because we don't stop to think, what do we really want? How do we want to shape life and work? And so having that time off was hugely important for me. And, and actually it got really clear on, right, actually, if I could do one thing day in and day out, for the rest of my life, I've got the second chance. I need to really use it, It was coaching, from those early days on the netball court through, coaching my team, coaching careers, it was the one thing I kept coming back to, the one thing I just wanted to do day in and day out, and that was a massive turning point for me, because all of a sudden I was reinvigorated, because I got really clear on what I wanted to do, what I really wanted to do, also what type of life I wanted to live. I wanted more adventures, I wanted to have more freedom, I wanted to be injecting more life into my life and not just stuck on that corporate hamster wheel. And by kind of taking the time out to figure that out and build that vision and then start working towards that, that was a game changer, because I think I'd been so stuck and I'd been so overwhelmed, because I had no idea where I was going, and I hadn't made a plan. And as someone who likes a plan and loves to take action to get moving, I was really stuck, because that was the one thing I wasn't doing. I was just, doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different, and expecting someone else to maybe, wave a magic wand and take away that kind of, that fear and that, to give me back my confidence. But, the game changer was realizing that it was up to me to do that. And tomorrow I'll tell you a little bit more